So one of the popular videos that I have on my channel is the top 10 settings I have for my TC-Helicon Voicelive Play Acoustic. And while I'm playing live, this is actually connected to my loop station as input effects, as it were. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the settings on the TC-Helicon. The reason why I'm wearing headphones right now is because I've actually got it plugged in to my audio interface. So you should be able to hear me coming through the TC-Helicon right now. Now, as it stands, there's a little bit of reverb. You can probably hear that. The great thing with the TC-Helicon is it has a hold for talk button, which is fantastic. You can just hold it down with your foot, maybe while you're changing tuning or changing something else, because it also mutes the inputs for the guitar. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through every page from every preset. I'm going to put timestamps because there are 12 sounds that I use while I'm playing live. And the other caveat with all of this is that all my guitar settings are actually the same. I don't change the guitar setting. It's actually set for global, so it means that the same guitar setting is across the board. So everything is for voice. So preset number 1, Barry White. You can hear right now that there is actually no reverb on this whatsoever. And as I press hit,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You can hear the reverb coming in, and also you can hear the low voice. So let's go through it. So right now on harmony,
there is nothing on
there whatsoever. There's nothing on there. It's actually off. So the control is off completely. And if we go across one, you can see that there is a double. That is off as well. Then the delay, that is off. The reverb is on, and that actually is on the hit command. So you can see it's on the hit command. If you change this with the little dial here, you can go from off to permanently on, or it turns it on when it's on a hit, and that's what I've done. The level for the reverb is set at -16 dB, and the decay is 3.9 seconds, so it's pretty long. So as we hit it,
1, 2, 3.
And then there's also many different kinds of reverb. So right now the style, which is here, if you actually tap this one, it'll light this up, is bright plate. There's obviously loads of other ones you can go for, but the bright plate is the one we're using for Barry White. Next up is hard tune, and that is actually on the hit control, and this is actually changing the formant and the gender slightly. So have a little listen to this. This is called Gender Bender for the hard tune.
1, 2, 3.
So the shift is actually an octave down. It's not using the harmony system to actually take it an octave down. It's using the hard tune. So you can see there it's -12.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then also you can hear the gender. And as
I turn that up and turn it up, it goes more lighter. And of course, as you go further down, it goes
lower. So I had that basically around -30. And I sound really weird right now. And it's on hit, obviously. So
if I turn that off, you won't hear it. But if I
turn it back on again, it works.
One thing that's really cool is you can still hear the echo as I turn the hit off. It just carries on, which is really nice. It doesn't cut it off. It doesn't cut the effect off, which is really, really nice. So then if we turn the shift all the way down to -12.
1, 2, 3. It still sounds a little bit human.
There's a little bit of bittiness there, but I wouldn't use it for talking. I use it for singing a bass line. So, da 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 da, normal voice.
Da 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 do.
And it just follows my voice, even if I'm out of tune or in tune. It's really, really nice. Going through the rest of the settings, transducer is off, and so is the U mod as well. Preset number 2 is the high and low, and I've turned everything off right now. I'm on the hold to talk option. So let's turn it on. And right away, you can hear there is a little bit of reverb there. And then as we turn it on, this is a harmony. Now, it sounds a little bit out of tune, and that's because what it normally does is it follows the guitar. So let's dive into this and have a look at what this is doing. So as you pick vocal harmony, first of all, the one is harmony, and this obviously is the big one. So it's set for high and low. So you've got high and low, you've got higher, you've got lower, you've got octaves, things like that. So it's set for the hit, of course. The level is at -2 dB. So it's just lower than my voice. So my voice is the predominant one, and then the harmonies are just underneath. The key is set to auto, so again, you can hit the key if you want to, or dial the key in for a specific patch, but I've got this down as auto, so if I play a G chord on the guitar, it recognizes it's a G chord, and it'll give me a high and a low. I think the high is a third up, and the low is a fourth down. But if we hit that, 1, 2, 3, it's got 2 extra voices. It's also really useful if you're using it for things like beatboxing or making drum noises. So if I went boom, 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 and then turn this on. Boom, boom, boom. Just gives it a little bit more depth. just like 3 voices going as opposed to 1. Now, it's not obviously something that most people would do, but I use it for a little bit of kick and snare noises, not for hi-hats, because it sounds like there's 3 sets of hi-hats. It sounds weird. So that's harmony number 1, high and low, and then the doubling basically is off. So is the delay. The reverb is on, and it's a real plate. The level for that is minus 22 dB, and the decay is 2 seconds. You can hear that already. It's just permanently on, whether you've got the harmonies on or not. The hard tune is off, the transducer is off, and the U-mod is off. And that is my high and low. Now the next one is called Feel Good Gorillas. TC-Helicon actually took a load of different presets and gave them names, and they sound very, very close to, if not almost exact to, different songs that are popular. So this one was kind of taken or inspired by the song by Gorillaz called Feel Good. 1 2 1 2. Obviously this is off right now, and then as it goes to hit 1 2 1 2, it's a radio sound. So there's a couple of things going on there, so we'll dive into that now. So as we hit vocal effects, the first thing is the harmony is off completely. Then you've got the doubling on. So there is a doubling on. 1 2 3 1 2 3, and it's quite loose. So it's on the control. It's permanently on the normal one, as you can maybe hear it there. It's a little bit loose, and it says the style is 2 voices loose, and the level for that is minus 17 dB. So it's a little bit lower in the mix, but there is a doubling going on there. The delay is off. The reverb is off for this one, and then the hard tune is off as well. Where we're making our sound is the transducer, and quite simply, the style is just called radio. There is a drive for it, which is set at 20, and then the filter is 61. So as we hit it now, you'll be able to hear that actually comes in, and we can change these if you want to, so you can hear it goes all the way through, and I can move it around to about there. Then with the drive, if I push that, then obviously it's going to give you a little bit more distortion, and you're going to get a little bit more of a grit to it. So they've kept that pretty low at 20. And that's it. So the other thing as well is the U-mod itself is off. Now I use that one in a couple of my own songs, but I also use it obviously for the actual track as well. It's really useful if you want to put down a drum beat, like a simple one or a small one, so you can, and then obviously replace that with a and put a real big one in. So it's great if you want to have it just something simple or something different to just like a hi-hat noise. Now, if you've been finding the content of this video useful so far, then please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're releasing music and using things like the Play Acoustic to create a load of different tracks, then you need to check out today's sponsor, which is our channel sponsor, which is DistroKid. DistroKid is a music distribution company, so what that means is you give your music to them and they push it out to all the online stores and digital streaming sites around the world. But it doesn't stop there. Some of the music streaming sites are actually social media sites, things like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and you yourself and other people could then use your music for things like their reels, and you get paid. Some music has gone completely viral on things like TikTok and Instagram, and it means that you can use your music as their reels. They can just add it, and it's just one of the streaming sites. And if that video goes viral, you're going to get a lot of plays, you're going to get noticed, and also you're going to get some money from it as well. Now, other music distributors will charge you per release, so they'll charge you per single, per EP, per album, per cover. If you want to release a live version, if you want to release an acoustic version, DistroKid don't do that. They charge you one price per year, which starts at $19.99. And we can save you 7% off that if you just click the link that's in the description box. It's also on screen, and it is that QR code that you can now see. So if you're watching this and you've got your phone handy, just scan that QR code and that'll take you to the same place. One thing I really like is every single release that you make, DistroKid will create what's called a hyperfollow page. It's a one-stop place for that single, that album, that whatever you've released, but it shows all the different places that you can listen to it. Maybe you listen to everything on Amazon Music, but all your fans listen on Spotify or they listen on Apple Music. You don't want to be pushing a different service on them, but if you just give them the hyperfollow page, that means that they can go on there and just pick the service they want to use to listen to your music. DistroKid do a thing called teams, so what you can do is if you're in a band, there's 5 of you, you can split the money 5 ways equally if that's what you're going to do, or you can set the percentage for different people. Now I said it starts at $19.99 and we can save you 7%. They also have a couple of tiers, so they've got a thing called Musicians Plus, that's $35.99. So if you're a solo artist but you're also in a band, or if you want to schedule the dates for the release, then you'll need Musicians Plus. Or if you're running an entire label and you're actually running loads of different bands, then there is even a label tier as well. And even with that link, you're still going to get 7% off off your first year annual membership, no matter which tier you choose. So thank you very much to DistroKid for sponsoring the video. Have a look at the link, scan the QR code, and start making some music today. Now, so the next one is called PB&J Youngsters. So again, from a popular song, and you'll hear it as soon as I turn it on. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Now that's the normal one. And then when we hit it, 1, 2. It's really loud, and it's also my idea of a church sound, or I said in the previous video for sounding like a monk. So we're going to dive into this right now, and I'm going to show you what this is doing. So vocal harmonies is off completely. The doubling is on when you turn the hit on. You may have heard that. There's a doubling on there, and the level of that is like -1 dB, so you can hear it really loudly. So the hit's there. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's my normal voice, just one voice. 1, 2. 2 extra voices you could hear there. So the style is 2 voices loose, and that's on the hit, and as I say, that is on -1 dB, so it's right at the top of the mix there. Then you've got the delay, which is on, and you can hear that, so it's a quarter style delay, as you can see there. The level for that is -20, and the feedback is obviously how many times it's delaying, and that's going to be around about 40 or 42 it is. So if we turn it on now, 1, 2. Of course, if you want more repetitions, you just turn the feedback up, which is cool. But again, it's not something I'd use for short, stabby noises, like 1, 2, for example. I'd use it for ha. So let me demo that. So again, really useful. Then if we go over to the reverb, there is a reverb on there, and it's a bright plate. The decay on that is 3.9 seconds. Again, really long, because of course you want it to sound like you're in a big long hall. There is a church one, there is a cathedral one in there as well, but the bright plate just brings out the brightness in the voice a little bit more. And then the level is -14 dB. That's permanently on, whether you use the hit or not. The hard tune is off, the transducer is off, and the U mod is off. So that's the PB&J Youngsters preset. I should really rename it to just choir or monks. The next one is called High Octave Choir, or High Oct Choir. This is my 5th preset that I use, and I can obviously go up and down depending on which one I want. This one is literally putting my voice, it's a complete opposite to Barry White. It's putting it an octave higher, but putting a little bit of a reverb on there as well. So as you can hear it right now, the reverb's already there. 1, 2, 1, 2. And then as we do the hit,
1, 2. Hello. So completely different, and I wouldn't use this for talking normally because it sounds a bit odd, certainly coming out of my voice, but very useful for
so really useful for looping. Certainly if you're building a choir, I would use the monk's voice, I would use my own voice, and then I would use this as well, just to add another dynamic. So obviously you've got a higher range there. Let's dive into it. Let me show you what's going on. So the harmony is the actual main one here, and it literally is simply an octave up, but you can see the little icon here. So octave up, it's got a female icon there. Fair enough. And then the level is -5, so obviously it does push a little bit more in the mix, so I turned it down a little bit so it doesn't blow out. Then the key is set to auto again, and then it's on the hit control.
So we can obviously turn that on. 1, 2.
Now it becomes a lot more controlled because it's on auto key when I'm playing the guitar. So if I play a D, it kind of knows, okay, you're singing this note, and it kind of just adjusts it slightly, which is really nice because it kind of, you can get really loose and really uncontrolled if you're using a high-pitched harmony. The lower ones you've got a little bit more control over, but the higher ones, little fluctuations can actually be magnified. So that's really, really useful. Then it's also doubled as well. So of course you can hear 2 voices an octave up. So again, it's pushing my voice higher up the range, but this one is -4. So these 2 voices are slightly behind that one, and then of course my voice as well. So that's on the hit as well. So again, we've got 3 voices there going on. Then the delay is off. The reverb you can hear is on right from the beginning. 1, 2, 1, 2. Again, we're on the bright plate. It's -18. And again, 3.9 seconds. That seems to be my sweet spot, what I prefer. Obviously, you can choose what kind of reverb you want. You just dial it in and hit store, and then you're good to go. The other thing as well is the hard tune. Now, the hard tune is actually on, and this is again gender bender, so the opposite of Barry White. So as I said before, this is doing plus 12 as well as all the other stuff as well, and the gender there is 25. So again, if I was to
you turn that on, so you've got my original voice, and then there's also 2 other voices as well. It sounds really weird, but yeah, so if I was to turn that all the way up, and I can have that duplicated, and then I've got the gender going towards the lighter side, so 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You could have it like this, which sounds a bit weird.
Although it sounds really weird while I'm talking, when more than when I'm singing, I don't want anything too unnatural. I want it to sound like it's a little bit more like a natural voice, so as natural as I can get it or get away with, without obviously spending thousands of pounds, and also doing it live. Now the transducer itself is off, but then the U mod is on, and the U mod is, this is a micro mod clone, so it'll just clone it slightly, and then you've got the level there, and then the speed is nothing, almost 0.5 hertz. So on the U mod, it's down as micro mod clone. This is on the hit again, so this is just to take my voice and sort of make it a little bit more. So it's great with that. Certainly with the formant, it kind of pushes that boundary even more, which is really cool. And that is the high octave choir. This next one is called Shivers High Up, and this actually does refer to a certain song, which is made by Ed Sheeran. So this is another one that again is higher up, but it's just been tweaked again just for that specific song. So if I was to talk right now, quite a echoey voice, and that's fine. I only use it very sparingly, and again it just amplifies that. I still got my original voice this time, but you've also got the octave higher. And that's what I use it for. So let's go into this and I'll show you what it's doing. Again, we're on harmony, octave up, and this time we've got it at -5 with the auto key, and that's on the hit. We've got the doubling up again. So this is very, very similar to the high octaves. There's just a couple of variances on this. So this is on -2 for the level, and we've got 2 voices octaves up, and again, that's on the hit. The delay is off. The reverb again is on the bright plate. I do like the bright plate, and you've got -18 on the mix, and you've also got 3.9 seconds for the plate itself. That is on permanently. Then the hard tune is off, the transducer is off, and the last one is the U mod, and this is the thicken. So this is just to thicken the sound up a little bit more. The speed is 1.54 hertz, and then it's at -5. Again, that is only on the hit, it's not on permanently. So only when we've got those high voices, it'll thicken the sound just a little bit. So number 7 is called Tuned Up and Down, and this is just a slightly variation to our high and low, but it's tuned. It's actually using a little bit of auto tune. So 1 2 1 2, you can hear this. There's quite a long reverb. We'll go into that in a second. And then 1. So you can hear there is a lot of tuning going on the harmonies. So let's dive into this and let me show you what I'm doing. So first of all, we've got harmonies. Again, they're the high and the lows, and we've got a level of -7 on this one. It is tuned to the key of whatever you're playing. So of course, it sounded a little bit out while I was doing that singing just then, because it's waiting for a chord. So I know exactly what chord I'm playing, and of course, if I'm then in tune with the chord, then these are going to be in tune as well. The doubling is off, and so is the delay. The reverb is on, and we're on the smooth plate. This is -23, but you can hear it's quite a long one again, 3.5 seconds. So the smooth plate has a little bit of a darker tone than the bright plate, obviously. But yeah, you can hear that that's on, and that's on all the time. Hard tune is where we're kicking in with this one. So the hard tune, there's no shift on this, with just the actual style of the hard tune, and that's actually set to pop as opposed to anything else, opposed to like a robot or anything. So you've got different ones, you can go through and try them. So I've left this on pop, and it's on the hit. So as we talk, 1 2 1 2 dee dee. So you can hear it there. And then the transducer is off, and so is the U-mod. Now this one, it was actually one of the presets, and I've not renamed it. It's basically what it's named, and it literally is called MJ 2011. So have a listen. 1 2 1 2. This is my normal voice. Hello.
1 2 1 2. This is not my normal voice. Hello, hello. So yeah, this is a slightly different yo yo 1 2 1 2 and the place to be da 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 da.
And I can use it for a little bit of rapping or a little bit of
singing like this, yeah.
It doesn't sound like MJ, but you kind of get like a feel for it. So there's not much actually going on this one. It's just changing my voice. There's no harmonies on this one, as it were. But I'm just going to dive in and show you. So as I said, the harmonies are off, and so is the doubler, and so is the delay. There's a reverb. It's just a snappy room. It's on right now. 1 2 2 2 1. So that one's set at -25, and then the decay on that is 1.2 seconds. So it's a really snappy room, literally. Then you've basically got the gender bender, and that's what's doing this. That's all it's doing it, just like it does on the Barry White one. We're staying the same as we are for the shifts. There's no chromatic shift there. It's the gender. So the gender just goes up by 20.
1 2 1 2.
Other people use things that are similar, so you'll see people like Dub FX. When they're rapping, they'll rap in their normal voice, then they'll go into a voice like this, then they'll go into a voice that's slightly low as well. So it's like 3 people rapping. So this is quite cool. 1 2 1 2 and the place to be.
1 2 1 2 and the place to be.
Okay, so that is just using sort of the gender bender and then just changing the formant, really, the gender, and that's on the hit control. There is nothing going on with the transducer or the U-mod. So the next one is called High Octave Choir. Hang on a minute, have we not had a High Octave Choir before? Yes, we certainly have. So High Octave Choir on number 5 is different to High Octave Choir on number 9. I just know that. I should really rename it. But it's basically the one that it came with. So this is the preset that you can actually get from TC-Helicon. I haven't tweaked it at all. This is just the one it comes with. So it's just a little bit less than what I did with the other one. So let me dive into this now. 1 2 1 2.
1 2 1 2. Hello.
Let me just compare that to the other one. Maybe you hear the difference there. There's no doubling on number 9, but on number 5 there is. So it is just a slight variation. It's a little bit cleaner on the High Octave Choir one. I just wanted to push it a bit more, and that's the main one I use for going high, but then there's also this one as well. Now, the reason they both say the same is because you can just copy one preset to another, and then it will overwrite what's on that number. But you can also swap the presets around in the software, which you can download on PC or Mac. So Radio Harmony Delay is the 10th one, and as you're about to hear, there's quite a lot going on with this preset. So 1 2 1 2. And then the hit. 1 2 3 4 4. So there's loads going on there. Let's dive into this now and I'll show you what is happening. So straight away, the first one is harmony. We've got the high and low on the hit, and that is at level -9. It's set to auto key and on the hit command. The doubling is off, and then the delay is set to hit. You would have heard the delay there, and it comes in and it's -10. It's a quarter note and it's set to feedback 30. So let's have a listen. 1 2 1 2. Of course, the delay will actually delay anything that's coming through. So if there is a harmony there, it will delay that as well. The reverb is a slightly different reverb. This is called Wooden Chamber. So again, you can choose lots of different ones. So the level on this one is -10, and the decay on this one is 2.8 seconds. Now that's on permanently, whether you use hit or not. That's on the whole preset. The hard tune is switched off, and the transducer, as you heard, is on. Again, we're on the radio setting. So the radio setting, it's driving at 30, and then the filter is at 59. Finally, the U-mod is off. The 11th one that I use out of the 12, this is Teen Dream KP, and this is basically, again, a delay, but it's just much shorter delay. So 1 2. And you've got some harmonies on there as well. So let's dive into this one. So the harmony is 1 harmony, not 2. So it's just set to high, which is a third above what you're going to sing. And the level of that is -12 in the mix. Then auto key again, and that is on the hit button. So it's only going to come in when you press the hit button. Then you've got the doubling is on, and that's 1 voice tight. And that level on that one is -11. So for this one, the delay's got a ping pong delay. So it's ping pong style 1. And then you've got this at -28 with a feedback of 12. So if you have a listen to it, it's already on. 1 2. So if you turn the hit on or off, that's always going to be there. And this is the first one, to be honest, where I don't use a reverb on this because that ping pong delay is always there. So the reverb is off, and also are the rest of them. So the hard tune, the transducer, and the U-mod are completely off on this one. So this one predominantly is harmony, doubling, and the delay. Now, before we get to the last one, you can actually store over 200 presets with the Play Acoustic and the Play Electric, and you can obviously manipulate them here directly on the device or through the software. You can even go to TC-Helicon's website and download extra presets to go onto the software, and then you can manipulate where they are in this. So there's only one more that I really use predominantly in gigs, and it's just an alternative to the Barry White sound, and this is called Octave Flange. So I'm just going to turn this on. It is a lot louder, so I'm just going to back away from the mic a little bit.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1.
It's really sweeping at the low ends. It's real fun. So let's dive into this one now. So there is no harmony on this one at all. There is no doubling. There is no delay. There is a reverb, which is a studio room. So that one is -4. And then the decay is 940 milliseconds. So it's not even a second delay. It's really short. And again, that's only on the hit. It's not on the normal one. So right now, there is no reverb.
1 2.
It only comes in when you actually hit the hit button. Then you've got the hard tune, and that's again where some of this is working. So again, gender bender, we're on -12, and then we're on -17 for the gender itself. And again, that's on the hit button. And then you've got the transducer is off. So the U-mod is what's making the flange noise, and then the level is -3, so it's actually sweeping quite loud in the mix. And then it's actually really, really slow for the speed, so it's actually... I could obviously make that go faster, and again, that is on the hit button. So once again, that is Octave Flange.
1 2 1 2.
It's really good to play with the actual size of your mouth when you're doing that as well. Now, there are absolutely loads of different sounds that I've actually imported, and you can hear them as I skip through them. There's loads. If we can go all the way right to the end there, let's have a look how many I've got. I can't even remember. 324. And obviously, you can take one of these sounds to begin with, and then you can start tweaking it. And that's the real cool thing, because basically you're just taking a preset and building upon that preset. So what I would suggest is if you've got one of these, then start having a play around with the presets, what you can do. There's 7 main categories, and obviously those categories have loads of different features inside them. So if I was to go all the way right back, let's just go to high and low. And as you can hear there, if I was to actually do this, I can control this how I want. Now, the other thing you can do as well is you can favorite a preset. So it doesn't have to be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You could have it at, there's a favorite at 1, there's a favorite at 50, there's a favorite at 73. And you can just tap the favorite button, and you can see there it's favorited it. So if I was to actually look at just the favorites, if I go to genre, I'm on all, but I can actually say, well, actually just show me the favorites, and that's it. And you can skip those other ones as opposed to scrolling through really quickly. So if you have found the content of this video useful, then give it a thumbs up, because it really helps me. But if you want to see the previous video, then that should be on the screen now. But if you have any comments or questions regarding this one, then let me know in the comment section below, and we'll see you on the next video.